What's going on, everybody? Welcome for the first time or back to another Dljworks video. And in today's video, may seem a bit simple-minded, but I still think it's very important to stress the difference between these two things. And we're going to talk about collections and categories when we're talking about video streaming subscription services such as Vimeo OTT and Uscreen. So stick around for the content right after the intro. Alright, so I'm still glad that you're here with me, and like I said, this may seem like a very simple-minded video, and you may say to yourself, like, I already know this, but ask yourself, really, this, do you? Because some of the clients that I actually worked with, they still have quite a bit of time of understanding collections and categories, the difference between the two and how you utilize both of them. And you want to utilize these features, these functions, based on how people understand them already and how they use other streaming platforms. So I have several tabs open here already. I'm actually in the Uscreen backend. I also have it for Vimeo OTT because I want to touch on both of these as well. So, but the concept is going to apply to both platforms. It's no different or nothing unique outside of both of these things. Now, here I have for collections. Let's actually talk about collections first, because I think that's going to be a little bit trickier in terms of understanding, because a lot of people tend to treat collections like they are categories, which I guess you could do that, but that's going to be more confusing on your viewers. So here we have Twilight. And Twilight, they put it in this little, Netflix has put it in this Twilight collection. So on my Netflix back end, but you can actually see that, I'm going to mute this, okay? You can actually see that they have the whole Twilight collection, all of the movies that ever was released starting from 2008 going all the way up until 2012. So this would be considered a collection of series. Now, it's a little bit easier to identify this in movies because you have a collection, you have a single title, a single umbrella, which is Twilight, and they have all the parts to it going from just the standard Twilight all the way down to Breaking Dawn parts 1 and 2. All right, so this will be easier to identify in movies, but you can actually see that when you have multiple movies in a series and under one single series, then you will put it under a collection like this. So that's one way about going about doing it. All right, let's look at Danger Mouse. This is about 10 seasons. This is an actual TV series, but here this is also a little bit easier to understand as well. This is a classic collection, but it's under, they just put it under this single umbrella of just the Danger Mouse Classic Collection, and it has about 10 seasons all the way back to the early 90s. All right, and here we have actually two collections. We have the early 90s and we have the 2016 series, but in this early 90s series we have about 10 seasons. In this series, I mean this collection, we have about 2 seasons. All right, because it says it right there, so pretty plain and obvious. But with the when you're having a television series like this, then you're going to have it broken down into seasons and episodes. So when you're creating a collection, you're creating a single title when you're putting seasons and episodes, or you're putting numerous movies into that, under that single title, under that single brand. I also have another website open. I really wanted to just kind of use some resources to drive this point home and to better explain how you can understand the differences between each one. But it says here, collections are curated pages of movies centered around topics like the Oscar-nominated films of a certain year or movies. So let me just go to the picture. So if we look at this Indiana Jones right here, you got an Indiana Jones collection. Indiana Jones is a movie series, but it has all these parts to it. All right, Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, The Last Crusade, and then the more recent movies. So you can create a collection. So when you create a collection, you want to have a title that maybe your people are familiar with, and then all the parts that go to it, whether it be actual seasons, episodes, etc. Now, let me go ahead and kind of share this with you from the Uscreen standpoint so you can even understand this more. And I'll link to all these resources in the description below, but collections allow you to group and sell videos as a series. You can group them to either because they have the same subject or because they need to be watched in a specific order. Depending on your content, this could be a TV series or an instructional series or something like a 10-day yoga course. So more than likely, a lot of people are using Vimeo OTT and Uscreen to showcase, to hold all their course content on, their educational content. And that's what they're actually selling. A lot of people aren't really doing, well, there's quite a bit of people doing entertainment content, but a lot of people are actually using these platforms to be able to house their courses because they're constantly adding content to these things. And it's an easier way to organize it. It's much easier to organize it using these platforms. Now, let me actually go into the back end, because let me show this from Vimeo OTT right now at this moment. And here we have, I created one collection called Dljworks, The Drama Continues. I was just making something up here. All right, the series. So, all right, underneath here, in this back end, you'll be able to put the description, the short description, the full description, your thumbnails, and I'm gonna actually show you how to actually add the appropriate thumbnails in a website that you can use to easily do these things here in a second. But you can add all your content here, whether you're adding a season or anything else. So you see here, I already have one season with 2 episodes. And I'm going to click on this to see if it opens. I'm just using some stock content that I made up myself. As soon as this loads up, this may not load up, so I don't really know what's going on there. Oh, there we go. Okay. So here we already have like one thumbnail, one season number, and the content that's here already is just 2 stock videos that I have, the introduction to the drama and an episode I just made up called The Homework. So this is to give you a better understanding in terms of how this works. If you was doing a course, you could easily name this. Let me go into this and actually see here. Let me move this, my little video out the way. Settings, plans. This is only applying to subscribers, which is good because this Vimeo OTT allows you to apply this content singly to subscribers. But I actually want to edit this, so I'm going to open this up. And I can actually, if I was doing making this into a course, I can easily name this, course 1. Introduction on how to code. I'm just making something up. Okay. Introduction on how to code. Let me move this back down. And I'm gonna click save. And now if I wanted to rename this, I could just say course 2 using HTML. Okay, bam. So if I was creating a course, I would probably just rename this course like how to code. Just the whole collection will be, or not the collection, but the whole entire collection would be called How to Code. And then maybe the first series that I would have in this would actually be, let me see, I already saved this. So I'm gonna cancel now, and it took me right back. I didn't want to be back there. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh this page. And we see that course 1 is introduction on how to code. Course 2 is using HTML. And I would name this season, instead of Dljworks, The Drama Continues, the season will be called Web Development 101 or something like that. All right. Does this make all sense at this moment in time? So this is an easier way in terms of understanding it. If you're not creating entertainment-based content and you're creating course-type content, then this is how you would actually organize and structure your collection. And the entire name of the collection would be how to code. And maybe later on, so let me kind of type this out for you so you can actually see. So if I was building a course, how I would structure it. So I would actually have the name of the series titled How to Code. Season 1 would be Web Development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Episode 1, Intro to HTML. And then episode 2, Building a DOM, and so on and so forth. However many sub or episodes you're going to have within that course, or however you're going to do the course title. Now, when I get to actually season 2, or we want to consider lesson 2, I'm just using the names for seasons for better understanding. Then I would probably go to back-end development. Then maybe episode 1 would be using PHP or something like that, or Ruby on Rails. Using Ruby on Rails, or intro to Ruby on Rails. But you're starting to see the point here right now in terms of how to actually organize your information when you're actually building a collection. It's not going to be any different here on Uscreen as well. So here I already have this already kind of set up and how this actually goes. So with both platforms, you have to upload content. You have to upload your video content first, and then you have to go through the organizing structure, what videos are going to be part of a series, a collection, what are just going to be under the categories as standalone titles. So you have to really upload your content, have this stuff planned out even before you even upload your content. So if we go to collections, I've already made one called Chicago the Series. So if I go into this, if I go to edit, all right, and we can actually see that I have all the information here: short description, full description, appearance. And I already have the categories already pinned here underneath the episodes. I'm sorry, underneath the actual series, not for the episodes, okay? But the only difference here now is that with Uscreen, you have to actually use the playlist feature to organize your content into what's going to be, which episodes are going to be part of which season. All right. Where with Uscreen, you don't really have to use, not Uscreen, but Vimeo OTT. You don't really have to use the playlist feature. The playlist feature is actually a standalone thing to where you can actually just utilize it as it is right now. All right. And I'll show you here that difference here as well as a second. So it says upload your files and organize them and get started with distribution. So if you're trying to do if you want to have this organized so they could play consecutively, then you can actually use the playlist feature, but it's really not necessary. As you can see here underneath the standard collection, Vimeo OTT already gives you that ability to be able to organize your videos without having to use that feature. So it's standalone. So playlist is going to act kind of like you would use playlist for anything else. You find some favorite shows, episodes, and you just organize it under, you create your own title. So if I would say like Deshaun's favorite videos, then I would just put a bunch of videos underneath this playlist so they could just kind of be organized in the order that I want to actually see them in. So playlists are more tailored towards the user and gives them that autonomy. But with Uscreen, you have to actually utilize the playlist feature under a collection to organize your content in a way that you want your viewers to see it. So Uscreen, you're controlling the playlist for how the viewers are going to see it. And you can also do that same thing with Vimeo OTT because you also saw that function as well. But it's not really necessary. Your viewers on both ends will still be able to organize the content however they want to in the respective playlist. So simple enough. Vimeo OTT, you don't have to utilize the playlist feature to distribute your content. So I'm gonna actually show you this too as well. Okay, so let's see here. So if I go to start watching, all right, we can see the series that I have already here. I have it locked only to subscribers. So yep, as you can see here, you don't have to have a playlist or these organized into a playlist to actually view the videos in the way that you actually need to. Now, with Uscreen, however, if I was to go to the storefront, so you can actually see here how this will actually look. Okay, the series, crime drama, Chicago the series. We actually see that the playlist feature helps me to organize my videos to see what order the viewers are going to actually check them in and look at these in. So Uscreen is very good if you're going to build a course platform in terms of, you can actually use Vimeo OTT too, but Uscreen may be a little bit more user friendly in terms of having the viewers be able to see how they're going to view your courses in the order that you would need them to. But as you can see here, you don't really need to utilize the playlist function in Vimeo OTT in order for the videos to be in a way that you want your viewers to actually view them. All right. So, and to be honest with you, well, yeah, you have to distribute it through using a playlist feature on the collection in order to organize your content. There was no way actually around that. But here on Vimeo OTT, you can just actually organize your videos underneath the season area. And I had this on private, so to demonstrate this, I had to move it to public. So there was a reason why that wasn't happening. All right. So yeah, that is going to be the core difference between how collections work in terms of Vimeo OTT and Uscreen. There's a slight difference, but the concept is the same. That's one of the things that I wanted to really drive home in terms of how this actually works. And here with the divider that you see on Uscreen, you have to actually add this divider and create your seasons or however you're going to organize this and put your episodes underneath there. Like I said, this may be a little bit more user friendly, but don't sleep on the ease of Vimeo OTT as well when you're just adding content underneath your collection and how you're organizing that. All right, because it takes you from a collection to the actual series title, that title umbrella, to the very first season that you're actually doing things or however you're trying to organize it. All right. Now, one of the things I actually want to show you, and going back for a second, because if you look at this, you can see that you have required thumbnails that you need to put in at certain recommended size specifications. So one website you can use is titled Photopea.com, which is basically, it's an online Photoshop clone pretty much. I don't know. Photopea may find that disrespectful for me to call them a Photoshop clone, but ultimately that's what you're looking at. So here you can just go to new project, look at your size dimensions. So look at this one right here, 6,000 by 6,000. So that's what I'm gonna create. So I'm gonna say Vimeo OTT, 6,000 by 6,000. All right. I'm gonna do a transparent background, create. I'm gonna create some extra layers here. And if you'd like me to actually do a tutorial on how to use Photopea more, especially if you're a DIY, you're doing Vimeo OTT or Uscreen on your own, but you need a graphics software, don't have access to Photoshop, let me know and I'll do some tutorials on this as well. But here I'm just gonna take a very simple little red square here shape, and I'm just going to add some simple text and name it my. Okay, this isn't showing up. I don't know why, and I have it above, but let's see here. Where is my text at? Maybe it's not big enough. Oh, nope, it's too small. So we're going to enlarge this. Okay, my title. Okay, and like I said, this is not showing up. Oh, is that it up there? There we go. I don't know why it was showing up in the way that it was. Okay. So it showed up as my title. Okay, I don't know how that actually happened in terms of showing up in the corner. But now I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Export As, PNG. Okay, this is going to save to my Downloads folder. Now when I come back here to this, I'm going to just hit Replace. Because all I did was use the same image. But you want to use the appropriate image sizes as specified by the feature for that image so it looks correct wherever your users are actually viewing this at. All right, so you want to kind of make some adjustments here, and that should fill up the whole entire thing. All right, there we go. Perfect. Fills it up just exact as you actually need it. So you, like I said, you want to be able to create images that are exact to the ratio, the aspect ratio, the recommended size provided by each platform. And it's the exact same way here. So if I was to go to details here, I'm sorry, maybe it's under appearance. Okay, recommended sizes, resolution 1480 by 840. You go down, and this is all for the category, that feature category image. So that'll show up in the category section. You want to use the recommended sizes. So I just wanted to quickly show the actual Photoshop area and everything else too in terms of using this. Now, let's actually go in and talk about categories. Now, the category part is going to be a lot easier to talk about because categories are a very simple thing to understand. So here I am back under Netflix. I'm going to X this out. All right. And let's first look at the definition based on what Uscreen talks about. So categories are like genres for your content that help your customers easily identify the type of content on your catalog page. Those categories should be broad, just like movies, organized like comedy, documentaries, popular, etc. You should also organize your content into categories that allow you to group several videos under it. Very good. Very simple thing to understand. So you've seen categories before, like your categories are not your collection. So I want to make that perfectly clear. So here you have your standard things like action, anime, dramas. Well, maybe not standard. There's a lot of new categories. There's new content, new types of innovative content is being created, and these new categories have to be actually added. So comedies, classic and cult, romance, sci-fi and fantasy, science and nature, stand-up and talk shows. So that you have all these new categories that's being added. Some of your OG classics are like horror, action, drama. With the emergence of reality shows in the past 2 decades, you have this right now. So there's a lot. So categories are a fairly easy thing for you to actually understand and organize. So here now I'm gonna go to my categories here on Vimeo OTT, and here I have just categories that I just made up. This platform wasn't really intending to be a, entertainment platform, so I don't have your traditional categories. I was pretending that this was going to be for educational purposes. So you may want to have something, if you're doing this for educational purposes. I'm gonna make this public here. Let me see, distribution. Here we go. We want this to be published. All right, and here we have your custom URL, and then we're going to go to save. So then if I refresh this page, if I refresh this, if I go back to browse, there we go. Now the category pops up. So every category that you want to actually create, you want to actually make sure that it's published here on Vimeo OTT so that it can actually be seen. So I'm going to go here, same thing here. I'm going to go to settings, even though I don't have any content underneath this. Let me go to distribution so I can make sure it's published. Click save. Now, even though I'm publishing this, this is still not live because I still have to connect my payment information and I have to make my entire platform go live after I get all my ducks in a row from the back end, from payment information, all my content set up, several other things that have to be taken care of on Vimeo OTT. You have to have your terms of service and your privacy policy also uploaded before you can actually go live. Right now, I'm just publishing it to the theme so it could be public and visible. You're publishing it for visibility, all right? You're not publishing it to go live right now. You're still in a preview mode. You're visible on a preview mode. That's what it is right now at this moment. That's the best way that I can actually explain it to you. So if I refresh this, maybe let me see. Okay, because I don't have any content underneath the what is it, for students section. I don't have any content to that, so it doesn't make any sense for that to having to actually show up right now on this side. But you can actually see the how-to content. The how-to category has content, so it's going to be displayed here on this end. All right, so that is going to be categories on the Vimeo OTT side. For categories here, fairly simple thing to understand as well. We're going to go back to dashboard. Let me go to content. And I'm going to go to categories here. So I have two. Now I treated this back end as a entertainment side. Okay, so one side I'm testing with educational purposes. The other side I'm using for actual typical entertainment. So here I have adventure, and then I made one called crime dramas. So I have the content adventure here, crime dramas. They're both public. If I go to edit, you can see here it allows you to sort the content. All right, and I have the content sorted underneath the categories in the way that I actually want the videos to be seen. So once you actually save, position is going to be in terms of what order does the categories come in on the storefront. So once I actually save that, if we look at and go back to the home page here, we can actually see that the adventures that I have with the waterfall content is all in order. Well, starting with the most recent, starting with the latest episode. Your older episode is going to be at the bottom. Your most recent is going to be on the left-hand side, while your oldest one's going to be on the right-hand, further to the right. So, all right. So adventure, and then my crime dramas, the Chicago, the series. So the series is actually underneath the category because I placed that series under the category. It's not a standalone. These episodes aren't standalone titles. So if you see here with the other categories, I treated these as like movies. So I have it where it says movie 1, movie 2, movie 3 in these categories, but you can also add collections and other things that would also fit in this category as well. So that would be another thing to actually identify in terms of difference between collections and categories, is that with collections, you're having similar thematic movies, content under one umbrella, whereas with categories, it's going to be a bit broader. All right, it's going to be a bit broader to fit a whole bunch of things, from just episodes to seasons, series, all these things, movies, whatever the case may be, if that makes sense. So I think that is going to be it in terms of the understanding the difference between categories and collections for both Vimeo OTT and Uscreen right now. So make sure you're creating categories that people already are familiar with. You're not reinventing the wheel, unless you're explaining specifically to a unique audience that you have. Maybe you're making how to travel Brazil videos, and people who are interested in going to Brazil, you already have that audience base built up. You want to kind of teach them how to actually then view your platform and what type of categories to be looking out for to make things easier for them to do. So maybe you want to have things like categories like north side of Brazil, the Eastlands. I don't really know how you would actually make that up, but hopefully you'll see what I'm actually talking about. So that's going to be it for this video. If you are in need of a quick start guide or a course in terms of how to go through this from A to Z with Vimeo OTT, check out the link in the description. Also sign the email list, because I am also making a quick start guide for Uscreen as well, because I'm branching off just from actually using Vimeo OTT. I'm still going to be doing lessons and teachings and kind of videos like this on that platform, but I'm also just branching off, becoming a generalist in terms of how do you use both of these streaming platforms, and more so right now with Uscreen and Vimeo OTT, because they seem to be the most popular. We'll see what other platforms I get into, but these are going to be the ones that I'm going to be focusing on. So if we look here, I am actually creating another course, the Uscreen, it sounded a little bit infantile there, but the Uscreen quick start course as well. I have a lot of content coming up for this, because I'm really going into detail in terms of how to actually go from A to Z with uploading your videos, organize your content, your collections, creating on the theme, all these things. I'm going to actually because Uscreen actually gives you so much more in terms of customization. I'm going to really go into detail on how to actually customize your theme and using this platform too also. So you may be wondering that he spent a lot of time just talking about collections and categories. I could have just looked at this to understand it, but when you get into uploading and you see all the nuances, you can actually see in terms of how I was just trying to turn on publishing, a bunch of clicks and buttons, and turn on publishing and making sure to see like why this content wasn't showing and everything else. It gets a little bit more nuanced, and I don't want to use the word complicated, but in terms of understanding and navigating, you have to play around with this a lot. My goal is to kind of help minimize the trial and error and to play around and to help you get exactly where you need to go so you can make this easier for your viewers. So make sure you fill out the email below so you can go ahead. If you're trying to use Uscreen, I will have a quick start guide for you coming up here shortly as well. Thanks again for watching. God bless y'all. I'll see you in the next video. Leave me any questions. If you have anything that you need clarified that I may have just didn't cover in this video, and I'll be more than happy to do that for you. Peace out. See y'all in the next video. The Vimeo OTT Quick Start Guide is now $14.99. This 5-part video course will quickly help you navigate from beginning to end on how to set up your Vimeo OTT platform. It'll walk you through the uploading process, creating collections, products, customizing your theme, and much more, all under a 40-minute time frame. Now for a disclaimer. This video course will not tell you how to set up that, meaning right, your terms of service or your privacy policy. Please seek legal counsel for more information on how to set up those online documents. I've worked with LegalZoom in the past, and they are a great resource to help you do so. You can purchase through Gumroad and stream or download the content once you purchase it, whichever is best for your consumption. Either way, it will be available for you to access on Gumroad through the browser-based app or mobile app. Now, if you had a Gumroad app, you can stream it via your mobile device. There are 2 Gumroad apps that you'll see in the App Store if you're on an iOS device. One is the Library app, which is white colored background, and the other is your Dashboard app, which is green colored background. The Dashboard is for the content creator, while the Library is for the consumer. Either way, you'll be able to stream and learn about Vimeo OTT on the go or at the comfort or your chair in front of a laptop, desktop, whatever device you are using. Please leave a review on Gumroad, not for my benefit, but yours as a consumer in order for me to improve the product. Leave suggestions and comments that provide feedback on what's working and what's not. With this information, I'll be able to update the course in real time where you can access the new information at no cost to you. Thank you for your purchase.